The topic for today is money. Now, what is money and what did we use before money? As most of you know it, it's called the barter system. And the simplest way to understand barter system is think of you, for example, trading off something with your friend. Let's say you like his or her top and you want it and you give them something that they want from you, for example, a book. Now, he has the book, you have the top, both of you are happy, both of you have, what you wanted to have. Now, that's great and that is barter system. But an issue with barter system is that, let's see, I have apples this time and I have surplus apples and I go to the store and I want slippers. Now, I go to the store and I tell them I need a pair of slippers. I have apples. Do you want apples? Do you want to take it? And he says, yes, I want apples and I will give you a slipper or a pair of slippers. Now he says, and that's great because I get slippers. But now imagine a scenario when he says no. Then what do? I have only two options. One is to go find another store. And if that is not possible, then the option I have is to ask him what does he want. And what does he want? He wants fish. Okay. So now what do I have to do? I have to go find somebody who has fish and wants apple and take the fish, give it to him and get my pair of slippers. And this seems very difficult. Think about the number of transactions that we make every day today and think of having to do all this to get to buy something. That is very difficult. And why not make it easier and have one medium of exchange instead of having apples and fishes? Let's just have money. So I pay money to him to buy slippers and he pays that money to get his fish. So much simpler. And that is what we did. We introduced money as a medium of exchange. And this medium of exchange will be accepted by almost everybody. And that is why it works. Now the second thing important about money or what money does to us, it acts as a unit of account. Now let's look at a different scenario. I have apples and I need slippers. Okay, so I go to him and I tell him I have apples, I need slipper, and he says, yes, pay me 10 apples and I'll give you a pair of slippers. I said, great, okay. I get slippers and I go back and then I need one more pair. And this time I have surplus mangoes at home. I go to him for slippers and he says, give me 5 mangoes. And the list goes on and on. Based on which commodity I get to him, he'll have to tell me what the slipper costs with respect to that commodity. Now think of this poor man, okay, the store vendor, who has to remember billions of combinations of prices of different commodities and the products that he has. Now that is going to make it very, very difficult for him. And to get rid of all that, what we do is we give this the tag 200 rupees. He only has one tag, one thing to remember, and everybody comes and pays him the money and gets the slippers, end of story. And that is how we use money as a unit of account, and it makes it so much easier for everybody. Now diving a little deep, this unit of account becomes so very important because if you know about something called the GDP, that is a gross domestic product, or some things like national income, or how much money does India as a whole earn in a year. Now how do we know how much does India produce in a year? Things like that cannot be answered with random units, like apples and mangoes. We need something concrete that is accepted all around the world, and that is why we use dollars as a unit of account. And India currently is a $2.7 trillion economy. And we all understand what this $2.7 trillion means because it's used as a unit of account that is accepted all around the world. So that's point number 2. And point number 3, it is a store of value. What this means is, if most of you have saved in the past couple of years, you know what I mean. You can store money, you can save money. But if I had mangoes to save, okay, let's say I saved mangoes 10 years back and I need the mangoes today. Now it's almost impossible for me to do that unless I live in places like the Everest where it's so cold and everything gets preserved. But if not, then it's not possible because they are perishable. But money is not. Money is just a piece of paper and you can store it very easily, and that's why it's a store of money, and these are the major functions of money. Now coming to a slightly interesting fact, just think about this. You have a note of, let's say, 2000 rupees Okay? But in reality, if you think about this note, it is just a piece of paper that is worth less than 10 rupees. Now, if it's worth less than 10 rupees, why are you giving it a value of 2000 rupees? Have you ever thought about this? If you have, then you probably know that we consider it as 2000 rupees only because it is guaranteed by somebody. We have a guarantor who says that this paper is worth 2000 rupees. And if you ever find a 2000 rupee note lying somewhere and you get it to me, then I am liable to give you something that is worth 2000, maybe in gold or anything else that is actually worth 2000 rupees. And who is this guarantor in terms of India? That is RBI, or the central bank, who issues currencies or basically prints currencies. So it is because of this guarantor. So if you can go back home, or for example, if you have some money with you, just look at it. There'll be a signature of the governor of RBI saying that this money is guaranteed by us, and hence you treat it as money and you trust them. So basically, this entire thing about money actually works around the concept of trust. Great. Now, building a little bit more into this, if this is guaranteed and this paper only costs less than 10 rupees, but we consider it as around, with a value of 2000 rupees, that means this money has no intrinsic value. And money that does not have intrinsic value is called fiat money. And how is fiat money different from other forms of money? Is you'll have to go a little bit back. During the time of Guptas or during the time of Indo-Greeks, Kushanas, they issued gold coins. Now these gold coins had intrinsic value. If you melted the gold, you probably get the same amount of money that is written on that coin. Now these had intrinsic value. That means, you didn't need a guarantor. You actually have the worth of it in gold, 2000 rupees in gold. But for us, we have no intrinsic value, and that is why our money is called fiat money, and this is the form of money mostly used around the world at this point of time. So this is one term, and another term that you need to remember is legal tender money. So let's look at an example where you have two forms of paying, that is one in cash, 2000 rupees, and one in check, and you go to, let's say, a showroom to buy shoes, and you say, I need the shoes. So the first case, you give the check, okay? And you tell them that I need the pair of shoes, can you please take the check and give me the shoes? And they say no. They reject it. We can't give it to you. And you're like, okay, fine, I have cash, can you take cash? And can they say no? Have you ever had, an experience where you give money to somebody for something and they said no? I'm sure you haven't, because that is not possible, because money cannot be rejected by anybody in a transaction. And that is what makes it legal tender money. Legal tender money is money that cannot be rejected in any transaction. Checks can be rejected. That means checks are not legal tender money. So legal tender money are basically currency tender. Yeah, legal tender money are currencies and coins. So this is about it. We talked about money. We talked about the major three functions of money, why we had to go from barter to money, and the terms of fiat money, legal tender money, and the small story of how the RBI guarantees a piece of paper as money for us, and we all believe it and work with it on the basis of trust and go on with our economies. Thank you.